How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new video. So in today's video, we're going to be back on the 05 Neon SRT-4. We're going to be starting to put it on the frame machine to get that nose sway pulled out of the front end. Both of those frame rails are moved over pretty substantially to the passenger side of the vehicle. So we're going to bring it in, get it set up on the frame machine, clamp it down, and start working those rails back over to the left. Test fitting everything and getting the new suspension installed in that left front corner, so once all the pull work is done, it'll be able to be rolled off the frame machine over to the lift to get the drivetrain reinstalled. So without further ado, let's go pick that thing up from outside and get it set up on the frame rack. Got this inner fender shield removed here. This is going to give us access to come in and grab this frame rail in this area, which is where it needs to be pulled back over. Pulling it from the front is not giving us the movement that we need. It's going to start bending this rail out. You can see from right here forward, the end of the rail is actually turned out a little bit, so we need to grab it in a better place to get this kink in the back completely out and get the tower moved over about 2 more millimeters. The reference point from Chrysler for measuring is from the rearwardmost bolt on the shock on each side, and we're about 2 millimeters in this way, so we need to get this pulled out more. And I think what's going to give us the movement for that is to grab onto this rail further back to the firewall and pull it this way. So it should give a little more movement in the rail itself, and at the same time move the strut tower where we need it to be, and the strut tower should stay where we need to be once we get this rail moved out. Guys, we finally got all of the framework done here on the SRT-4. We got everything squared from the towers out to the ends of the rails. The whole engine bay is square, and the radiator support is also square. We test fitted everything once. I'll go back through and do a complete test fit once I get everything finalized here. But the first process that I'm going to start with is welding in this fender shield here. I've already got the weld through primer on the body of the vehicle, and I have weld through primer on the new part itself, just waiting for that to dry. I'll apply a second coat, and then we'll start spot welding this in around the rail, around the outer extension of the apron, and in the front of the radiator support over here and along the strut tower. So now that everything is painted in, I went ahead and sprayed some flat clear coat over this so it looks as close to factory as possible. I'm going to start putting everything back together. I got the AC lines to go back in, all the nuts and bolts that go up front, the ground wires for the harness, get the fuse box mounted back in, and then we'll get some of the odds and ends in the front put back on, so this will be ready to start putting the engine back in. But for now, I'm going to get all the stuff I had to take off to do this paint work reinstalled, put all the wiring harnesses back in, and we'll get you set up on a time lapse and go through that process. Finally got everything we need to put this left front suspension on the SRT-4 together. I got the new knuckle hub bearing and the strut from Mopar. I'm gonna get everything unboxed here and get the bearing pressed into the knuckle and get the hub pressed into the bearing. Get this everything put together, and then we should be able to transfer the caliper and the rotor and everything over. Get the new shock put in. I'm gonna have to pull the spring and the top mount off of that one, compress the existing spring to get that apart. So I'm going to get started on the hub and bearing pressing first and get that knuckle set up and ready to go in the car. Well, I thought we were gonna have this thing ready to roll tonight, but after I took the shock apart, this upper bearing is completely cracked and broken here. So I'm not gonna be able to put this back together at the moment. I'm gonna have to see if I can get this upper mount piece. Couldn't see that once it was in the car, because this sits on top of it and it covers it completely, so it's next to impossible to see inside, and even then you can't see that the ring is cracked until you take it apart. So got the new shock anyways. Once we get this, then maybe this can go together and maybe we can get this thing rolling. Otherwise, the knuckle reassembly went good. I can start putting that in the car, but I cannot get it rolling, unfortunately, until I get this bearing piece for the shock. So guys, we got the new strut top mount here from the dealer. I'm gonna open it up and take a look at it. So that's what it should look like before it cracked to that. Now that we got this, we can get this strut assembled and get the SRT-4 on 4 wheels for the first time again. There we have it. The Neon is finally sitting on all 4 wheels for the first time since I have had the project. We got the new wheel and tire mounted on there, and we got all of the new suspension installed. The new bearing is in the strut. New strut is installed. Everything is looking good. All put together there. We also got the new brake hose installed. It was torn a little bit up kind of back here where the strut contacted it when it was hit. So just out of an abundance of safety, we got a new brake hose installed in there, and everything is good to go. It is finally time for this thing to roll off of the frame machine. That is going to be the end of today's video. We got a lot accomplished once again on the SRT-4. We got everything straightened out in the front end, got the radiator support painted so everything looks factory original, and we got it able to roll off the frame machine by itself for the first time on its own 4 wheels without the help of a tow truck, a winch, or anything. So that's a huge accomplishment. In the next video, we're going to start getting the engine put back together. I'm going to go through all the timing belt service and everything that needs to be done to this engine due to the age of it and whatnot. So I'm going to have a full video on that coming up next. And then maybe at the end of the next video, we'll see this thing run with the engine fully mounted in the car for the first time since it's been wrecked. If you guys like this video, or have a friend that might, please feel free to like the video, share it with a friend, leave a comment down below if there's something you want to see on the channel. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.